The legacy of the 5 series cameras from Canon can't be overstated. It revolutionized the filmmaking industry, and I think Canon have learned a lot from the R5. Look at it. It's pretty. When it comes to the camera, you've actually got 3 separate battery grips with it. You've got one here which has the Ethernet capable kind of like download stuff for sports. You've got the normal battery grip, and you've got this one right here which is the cooling battery grip. That's right, they've basically created an AC unit for the camera because of those video specs. That's pretty cool, really, isn't it? Here it is. This is the Canon R5 Mark II. At the top here, what you have is a new hot shoe, which Canon will be able to release more accessories, for example, XLR inputs maybe in the future, which is kind of cool. Other than that, when it comes around to the top plate of the actual camera, you've got the switch for the photo to video mode. Something that I've always not necessarily liked about the R5 in particular is you have to press mode to change in between the video, and you have to learn all of that. It's a simple switch between, and I think there's a much better way of actually doing it. Other than that, when we come around to the back, what we have is a massive, and I think it's probably one of the biggest viewfinders I've actually seen on a camera. So this is of course to help out with the IAF, which is the autofocus system that looks at your eye and changes the autofocus points to help it track that best as possible. However, you have actually got an improvement into the EVF there as well in terms of like the quality of what you actually be seeing via the EVF. It's pretty cool, and it's, that's actually exciting in and of itself. Other than that, you're not going to be very surprised to hear that it's got a very angled screen there, perfect for vlogging, videographers and all of that. Again, this is kind of geared quite a bit to videographers as well as photographers, especially with that large sensor. With the 8K 60p, what Canon have done here, and I think it's smart from the get-go, is actually have a cooling battery grip. So all you have to do is get the battery grip, which has a fan here, which deposits cool air directly onto the back of the sensor, and then obviously you've got the input for the cool air and then the output for the cool air here. So as soon as you put that on, and then make sure that it's screwed in. This right here, I still feel like it's going to be most people's run and gun setup when it comes to shooting the video side of stuff, because you want to make sure you can shoot 8K 60 for a long amount of time. I haven't actually got the specs as to how much longer it allows you to shoot, but again, it stops that overheating from happening with the camera, and that was one of the things I think Canon wanted to sort out from the get-go when it comes to this release, and I think it's quite a cool thing to do. This isn't just a cooling fan though, so it is an extended battery grip, so you've got your 2 batteries here, so all you have to do is put in your battery into the bottom of it. There you go, you now have your camera with the extended battery grip. The other thing that they've introduced, and I must admit I do quite like it, are these little things. So when it comes to hot shoe covers, I lose them all the time. With this, it's a high quality one for one, and it just slots onto the camera, and it's actually got a button there to take it off, so it actually locks into place, so you're not going to accidentally hit it off. And again, it feels kind of high quality, very nice. There the R5 Mark II for you. What you really want to be knowing is some of the specs, so let's get into that. First thing to note here really is the processing engine. What Canon have done is actually added 2 processing chips in there, which is one going to be AI for autofocus and the other to process imaging, making the camera overall a lot faster. The next bit is, of course, the 45 megapixel full frame sensor. They've done something quite cool with the autofocus. What they've done is they've actually given it the ability to track different kind of sports, which means you've got the ability to track basketball, football, I believe tennis, and a few other different kind of ball sports, which means it's always going to be tack sharp for those ideal situations. The next bit, they've actually improved the image stabilization inside the camera, so now you've actually got 8.5 stops of image stabilization, which is some of the best on the market at the moment for just inbuilt stabilization. So that is actually pretty cool. But when it comes to the video, you've got 8K at 60p, which actually brings it more in line with the Canon R5C. But of course, this was more kind of focused on hybrid functionality, Makes it perfect for wedding shooters as well as general hybrid shooters, all in all, that shoot both photo and video. Now, I did mention earlier that the interesting thing that they've released with this camera, which is an optional extra, unfortunately, is of course the cooling grip. I wasn't able to actually shoot anything with it because it was a pre-release camera. So it's going to be interesting to see how the market reacts. I did actually speak to Mediah from Canon, who is the product specialist, about some more of the specs and kind of where the camera lands inside of the market. Let's get into it.
And I've had the pleasure of actually dealing with these two very exciting products.
Just a little bit exciting.
Very exciting for me, for quite a while. Hopefully everyone will find these cameras very exciting. So as you're aware, today we launched our new flagship camera, the EOS R1, but we also launched EOS R5 Mark II. We don't usually launch one series and a 5 series at the same time, hence this is a very exciting launch for us.
So do you feel like this camera has now gone a step further in the right direction for the legacy of the 5?
Definitely. I mean, as you said, the 5 series cameras have always been very popular. So many professionals went to the 5 because they wanted that little bit more of the resolution. They know that the camera is reliable as well, similar to what we said about the 1 series. I think that the 5D Mark II made, as you said, a massive difference for those that wanted to do a bit of both. And I think since then we've continued with that hybrid functionality. It's more now especially with the R5 in 2020, but we've made even a lot more improvements. We've added even more exciting features with the R5 Mark II. I mean, the fact that it shares, I would say probably about 70% of the features with the R1, that's already amazing as it is.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So definitely a big step, even for those currently with the R5.
Yeah.
I think if we look at the overall spec, the 8K 60 plus other video features, it's definitely up there with, if not the best, in terms of everything else that you need. So yes, the resolution is important if you need it for cropping, reframing, etc. It's all the other assist functions in a camera as small as this. We've already mentioned the tally lamp on the R1. That is another option or feature on the R5 Mark II. But in terms of other assist functions, you have false color that we introduced with the R6 Mark II, again for that accurate exposure. We even have waveform monitor, which is something that's usually reserved for our cinema cameras. The AF performance, so as amazing as the AF is when you shoot in stills, you can take advantage of that very fast and precise autofocus, the dual pixel intelligent AF with both cameras, and then all the options on the video. So if you might not want 8K, in RAW you have 8K in MP4, you have 4K up to 120 frames per second, Full HD and 2K up to 240 frames per second, and even in terms of compression, so you've got all-eye, you've got long GOP. Not many cameras at this level will give you that flexibility. So many options in terms of different bit rates again. So this camera offers so much more for those that actually want to do video but still want to have the flexibility.
Awesome. What do you feel is the defining feature of this camera, of the R5 II? It's just beautiful.
I think the accelerated capture with deep learning, I think that is the heart of the new sensor. Yes, people will see the difference even against the R5. I think it's that accelerated capture and deep learning will basically make this camera stand out. The autofocus. Camera features brand new 45 megapixels back illuminated stacked sensor. So you're looking at better low light performance, improvements when it comes to the rolling shutter distortion as well. Massive difference over the R5. 30 frames per second. I mean, thinking that it is a 45 megapixels in terms of resolution. So being able to shoot at 30 frames per second. Using deep learning, again, you do have the upscaling in camera. that you'll end up with 4 times the resolution of the original file. So you're looking at just under 180 megapixels.
Woo!
And neural network noise reduction. So both the noise reduction and the image upscaling is done on camera after you've taken the image, which, yeah.
Cool, yeah. Amazing. Thank you for having me here. It's really nice to actually have a look at the cameras, not necessarily test them out, have a look at them. It'd be really interesting to get one in my hands and get some cool stuff in the future.
Hopefully soon.
Amazing. Thank you. Cool.
Thank you.
If you like this video, make sure you like, follow and subscribe if you want to see more. Have a good day, and make sure if you are interested in the camera, click the link here and down below. It helps us prove that this is actually good for us to do.